I like how Jacob thought he was being stealthy.
Does Jake? Do you think? Oh my word, Jacob definitely like flips people off without his middle finger.
Wait, what?
So there's two types of people in this world.
You said flipping them off without the middle finger.
Yeah.
No, you mean flipping people off without the thumb.
Oh my gosh, I meant thumb. I'm dumb.
Yes.
I've been up since 3 a.m.
Why buy a comic that might cost more than a dime? Come meet the brothers who are here to waste your time.
Welcome back to the dimecomicbros podcast. We are all here. Apologies for any potential audio issues you may hear. We are all recording in 3 separate locations because there is currently a blizzard going on.
Our local area got an ass ton of snow.
Yeah, like God shook out all his dandruff today, like all of it.
I was going to say, he broke a snow globe and turned it upside down over us. And it was the biggest snow globe you ever seen.
Yeah, so I am unable to get to Colin's house at the moment, so otherwise we would be recording with just the 2 setups.
And Colin lives across the street, like right next door. You can see his front door from Spencer's front door, and Spencer couldn't make it.
It was that bad.
I am not Legolas. I can't sprint on top of snow.
Even the snow plows are getting buried in snow.
Yeah. So we are going to just go right into the news. We're starting off with the Snyder news and getting it out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
Zack Snyder is going to be remastering Batman v Superman for release on HBO Max, which will be coming out before Justice League, which will be improving the color grading slightly and restoring the original IMAX aspect ratio. Spencer is excited. Leave me alone.
Why do you care about the IMAX aspect ratio when you do not own an IMAX screen? What good does that do?
Because you can still see more. Like, it's quote unquote IMAX because like it was shot on IMAX.
More bat titties.
more like more bat ass, but you can physically see more, like, because it'll go from, normal, quote unquote normal widescreen, it'll go to that kind of 4:3. It'll be taller, like watching what Justice League will be coming out as in that aspect ratio. That's what it was shot with. So there is more, and that basically was what he said he wanted to do it for. He's like, I forgot how much I had to like crop out when we changed the aspect ratio. I want you to watch it. And he's apparently slightly tweaking the color grading. Yay.
Interesting.
An actual bigger piece of news, which just came out today. Snyder has confirmed via the comments on a Vero post that Justice League will be debuting in March, which is when BVS was released. I think when Man of Steel was released. It's also his birthday. Lots of other stuff. So, yay. I want it now.
Wow.
Colin, do you care? Or nah?
Birthday make me happy.
All right. So the investigation into the Justice League reshoots has concluded with, quote, remedial actions being taken, unquote. Ray Fisher reacted to this with, quote, there are still conversations that need to be had and resolutions that need to be found. Thank you for all your support and encouragement on this journey. We are on our way, end quote. And then since Joss Whedon's like losing roles and directing gigs and stuff, so it looks like something. And also Jeff Johns was removed from the marketing of Wonder Woman 84. He's still getting mentioned because he is one of the writers and he does work with Patty Jenkins a lot, and she still seems to have a good relationship with him, but he seems to be, even if just because he's in the headlines right now, they're just kind of pulling his name back a little bit.
So I take Ray Fisher's comment about we are on our way as I translate that as we aren't done hearing about this from Spencer, end quote.
Nice. Yes. Unless something major happens, I would like to stop talking about it. I'm very tired of it now. I just wanted to make sure we saw it through resolution. Also, there hasn't been a lot of news over the past couple of months, to be honest. So, stretching for news.
I keep sending you stupid clickbaity shit and you don't mention it on air.
I've been taking most of them lately because they're not clickbait, and then when the ones that are clickbait, which are from like freaking Oh,
BuzzFeed.
yeah.
I know. I'm just making a joke.
If I see, certain names, I'm not going to name them, but like I see someone, I just don't trust it. Nothing, no matter what they're saying. Anyways, a lot of comic related news. So the Joker is going to be getting his own ongoing series, The Joker, set after DC's Future State, which is going to be written by the current Batman writer, James Tynion. I never know if it's Tynion or Tinian, the fourth, and illustrated by Gilliam March. Well, considering he's been doing really well so far, he definitely has big dick energy, Colin.
No. It's not about big dick or small dick. It's about good dick.
Apparently, the Joker is going to be on the run internationally from James Gordon. This is really weird, and I kind of want to. I want it. Sounds weird.
Sounds great to me.
So DC also announced Batman Urban Legends, which is going to be an in-canon anthology series also set after Future State. It's kicking off with a couple of stories involving Red Hood and some assassins and some street thugs and like nothing. It doesn't seem to be of huge proportions, but you'll begin to see a pattern here in a moment, which I want to discuss afterwards. DC also announced that Batman Black and White, which is an out-of-canon anthology series, will be returning. They also announced that Superman Red and Blue will be coming, which is basically it's the Superman version of Batman Black and White, also out-of-canon anthology.
You said Black and White is returning. What was the first part of that?
It was a lot of stories. I believe it was in the mid 2000s. I might be wrong. It went on for a while. There's like 3 trades, like a full omnibus of it. It's just different artist, writer teams of various, whether they've written Batman before or not, like just different takes on the character from different corners of the universe, all out of canon. So just, there's stories by like Deanie and Tim from BTAS fame and like just all sorts of people. So that's coming back.
Black and White, like the Batman Noir books, or
it is in Black and White, but that's also the name of the title. It's an ongoing anthology book.
So they're new stories, not old stories being converted to Black and White.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a return to a new newer version of a title thingamajig.
All this is happening after Future State.
Correct.
I do not know what Future State is. Please explain.
That's the upcoming DC-wide event in January and February.
So that's why I haven't heard of it yet, because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, it's the glimpse into the future of like 20 years down the line, like actual real time has passed, characters have passed on the mantle, people have legit died. So that's like the framing device of what the new quote unquote new continuity is going to look like. Is we have the end of the current metal stuff, which is a crisis event, but like the crisis event and all crisis events, like the end of that. And then Future State is in the future, like IRL. So you have what looks to be everything else is going to be in that bit in the middle that is in canon, like not the anthology series, like Red and Blue and Black and White, which are just their own thing, which we've had plenty of books like that. So everything I would assume that's not Black Label or anthology series, it's just all going to be set in that period of time. As we've been noting, DC's been honing in their book count. It's getting a lot smaller these days. I think they're down to like 12 primary titles or something in that neck of the woods. It's not a lot. And I believe they're going to be dropping a few more when we go after Future State. So my gut says that they are pretty happy just going in the direction of, minor spoilers for, not really minor, some spoilers for what's going on in current metal comics.
No,
basically,
please don't.
It's something we've already referenced. I already sent something to the group chat. It's not a big deal because it's been hinted at previously.
Fine.
Basically, like everything is canon. It's all happened. They just, because of all the shenanigans, they forget things fall out of happening. But like everything is canon after that event. They're going to be remembering everything. So all these different histories that don't line up have all happened. they just don't fit with each other, and they're just dealing with it. Like, because of crisis, it just changes. I'm not going to get any more in depth than that. But it looks like DC is going to let the writer and illustrator teams just kind of do what they want and be like, hey, we want you to fit within, what's already happened before and this glimpse into the future. But it looks like most of their books are turning into anthology type books, like a Batman book involving Batman and other Bat family characters, but just set with different stories with different artist teams. That's in canon, as much as that means at this point.
Okay.
It's interesting. I'm very fascinated
It's
to see.
It's interesting to say the least, and we can move on from the spoilers, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
very
just
civil of
interested-
you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm very
Me and my civilness with my velvet robes.
Your
Yeah,
civility is
boy.
overwhelming tonight.
Oh.
Oh dear. Marvel's Hellstrom is officially canceled, which is the bookend to Marvel Television as we once knew it. As if we didn't see that coming, Marvel Television doesn't exist anymore, and it came out with a wet thud. So, moving on, I guess.
Oh, come on. I want to riff on Wet Thud.
Then riff on wet thud.
No, it's fine. It's too late now. I didn't come up with anything fast enough. Typical,
Nice.
am I right?
Yeah. Usually you're too fast for my liking, but fair. I'm going to be watching this pretty shortly because I am interested, but
Same.
yeah. It's officially confirming what everybody already knew anyway. The last news story, Daniel Warren Johnson, who was the writer and illustrator for Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which I talked about last week, is going to be writing and illustrating a Beta Ray Bill limited series, which will be debuting in March, spinning out of the events of King in Black. This looks really cool.
I really like the idea of Beta Ray Bill because it's just so goofy and it has like a pretty big cult following. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to read it after finally reading King in Black. So yeah, I'm weirdly interested and can't wait to see where this goes.
I think he's a really good pick for this. I believe it's going to be the cover art or just some sort of a teaser they threw out there of what it's going to look like. And I think his art style fits really well with this.
I'm excited.
I don't really have an opinion because I'm not really educated on what we're talking about here because I don't know much about Wonder Woman or the artist that we're speaking of.
Right. And you haven't participated in any of the Thor stuff that this is spawning from, so
Get on it, boy.
Hopefully down the line I will, but as of the moment I am preoccupied.
Jacob, do you have any of those books in physical form?
No.
Okay. I have a handful of them. Once my collection is more complete at the beginning, I'm going to start sending them to Colin.
Nice.
Or just shoving them in his face. Because he must read. You must read. It's really good. You're going to love it. That is the end of the news.
Nice.
So, Jacob, what have you been consuming, you good consumer boy?
So, I'm kind of breaking the rules that we established last week, was it? Where we're only going to talk
2 weeks ago
about 3 things. I tried a lot of different things and nothing stuck. I was not excited to talk about any of it. So I wrote a single sentence about 7 different things, and I'm just going to shotgun them for you guys.
Do it.
All right, acceptable.
So after that last Moon Knight run that I talked about, the Marvel Unlimited app suggested I go into Moon Knight number 188 and on. So I read that, and number 189 came out in 2016 and is written by Max Bemis or Bemis. It's fine. It couldn't keep my attention. I have no idea why. It's not like the artwork sucked or the story sucked. It was an interesting idea, but every time I opened it, I was like, bored and ready to just twiddle my thumbs. I don't know why, so it's not a fair review, and I realized that, but I moved on. I then started Blade 2006, number 1. It's weird, it's interesting, and I downloaded the rest of the series. I think it's 12 issues to read for next week.
Nice. I have read that. I think I
There-
mentioned that a while back.
Was a weird note at the end of number 1 about it being for Blade fans, and it goes into, Blade comic book fans, not Blade the movie fans, but it wasn't downloading very well and I couldn't read it, and I don't know.
Nice.
It just seemed kind of sniffy about being for Blade fans.
That's
and I was
really
like,
funny because there's only I would be willing to bet if you counted up every issue of Blade, like his own run, there's less than 100. There's so few Blade books.
And I don't know really anything about it. I saw like the first 10 minutes of the first movie and was like, this isn't for me. But I'm trying the comic.
Really?
And
It feels like the type of kind of dumb fun that's up your alley.
it was so 2001 cringe, though.
Oh, but I love that. It's so good.
I know you do. I
have a
it
thing for the
back
early
home.
2000s cringe.
I will try it
You
again
have a
at
thing
some
for
point.
cringe in general. That's why you're my friend.
Oof. I feel
I
like
will-
at some point we could probably make those 3 movies a topic.
Yes. I will go
Should.
back and watch them eventually. So
Nice.
that is the end of my shotgunning for now. Spencer, what have
okay.
you consumed?
So, with something I watched and finished minutes before recording, I watched the Spawn movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've tried that one so many times, but my problem is that I put it on right as I climb into bed, and it's just my bedtime viewing. So I've seen the first 5 to 10 minutes 5 or 6 times, and that's it.
Oof. So, yeah, it's not horrible. It certainly feels like there was a lot of passion put into it. It feels like a really, really high budget, like film student film, and not like film students making a pretentious film student film, but like them trying something like boots on the ground, going and making a movie. They're trying so hard, but because of the technology and the budget limitations, and I would say really shitty screenwriting, in my opinion, not to trash anybody, but the script is horrible.
Also, talking about early 2000s cringe, that came out in what, 98, 99?
I think so. Yeah, it's Spawn is a very 90s, early 2000s character himself anyway, so that doesn't help. But hot damn, the writing is so bad. The structure is janky. It makes sense, but it's just shitty at making sense. In that, it's really hard to explain. The visual effects are the special effects. The digital stuff is absolute ass. Like, you can tell that they're trying to hide it as much as possible. Whenever he goes to hell, like, there's so much fire and smoke and lightning to like just chop out frames, like literally, so you don't have to render as much stuff.
Right.
It's so bad. I would have genuinely preferred if they hadn't done any of that. And there are ways you could do that. There's a way to write your script in a way where you don't have to visually see hell.
Or if you absolutely have to, use pyrotechnics and only do it once.
Yeah. The visual effects, like the practical stuff, I actually thought wasn't that bad. I think it was better in idea than execution, which I think is like my catchphrase at this point. But like, I like how the suit comes over his head. I like how it looks. I like the idea of it. It's just, it's a bit janky. It looks dated.
I like the
Not
idea,
too bad,
but I
though.
think I would have done better.
Oh, boy.
That's what I hear every time.
Yeah, fair.
I think I would have done better if I was the director, my vision.
Yeah. There's a few chuckles in there. One of the characters, I can't even remember his name. It was one of the like head demon boys. He's like a fat clown man. Gross.
Yeah.
But a few of the jokes were actually kind of funny. It felt like that performance, maybe it was the prosthetics he was wearing, but it's really hard to tell what he's saying. And then it almost feels like really bad ADR, like they're trying to dub over him sometimes. It might just be bad timing. Maybe the audio just literally isn't synced with the video. but
Weird.
it's fine. I would watch it again. It's not like it's so bad it's good. Like, it's not like I'm cringed laughing at it. It's just like, if I'm bored enough. It's
Right.
better than Catwoman. That's my baseline. I will not watch Catwoman ever
I
again.
That was so bad.
I've avoided that one like the plague.
Just you have to do it once for the
No.
lulz, and then you have to hate it for the rest of your life. Colin, what have you been doing? Anything?
So I actually finished Titans and
The first season or the whole thing?
all season 2. I finished season 2.
Dang.
I pushed through, and like the twist wasn't even a good twist.
No,
I could
so
see,
bad.
I could actually see how it was, and the first thing that came to mind was the most pretentious saying that Spencer says, and he says it all the time. It was great an idea, but how it turned out was not so good.
Right.
And like the whole Jericho thing. Oh, I can't talk about it.
Yeah,
but,
it's horrible.
Okay, but the idea was good. The idea,
I guess.
I could see that because of how his power works, but like also, it was the idea is like, okay, that sounds cool, but we should probably never do it.
Yeah. It's just so weird.
The last that they did like things that were so unnecessary, like a main character died and it's probably going to come back to life, but like as the last episode,
are you oh, okay, you're talking about that one.
the last episode, one of the main characters died, and it's just so dumb. It's like, okay, why'd you do that? The way how you had someone die, any of the other characters could have caught what was falling and not died, but you just it was just dumb.
It's
the girl that plays Rachel, she anytime that she does her powers or anything, I hate how she moves in her mouth. It's just like, and it's like, what is going on? Like, okay, there's just so many unnecessary things for story, but I know that they will forget it in the first episode. Everything will just be wrapped up in the first episode, like they did in season 2, episode 1. Got rid of Trigon immediately.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, but yeah, it was just really sucky. It just sucked, dude. I will not watch it again except for like specific scenes.
Yeah, I will admit that the Deathstroke outfit does look pretty cool.
Oh, dude, their outfits are so awesome.
It's just a matter of, particularly with Deathstroke, it serves no purpose because none of the things it visually has on it ever come into factor. It's like, just insert, it's bulletproof, and then you get shot.
Yeah.
Like, it's blade resistant, gets stabbed all the time. It's like, you're not even paying attention. Like, he's got a sword, never uses it. Like, no. Like that.
He actually used the sword quite a bit, but the stupid thing he only had one sword, and he pulled it out. I'm like, okay, why does he only have one sword? And then magically it comes into 2. Like, it doesn't even show the thing come apart. It's just like the second blade just comes out like it was like CGI. I'm like, oh my gosh. You have no shame. The writers, the directors, everyone on this crew has no shame in what is they're creating.
They really don't. They really don't.
And I'm like,
it doesn't even feel like they're trying. It actually feels like corporate like boardroom assembled, procedurally generated type nonsense.
Dude, it's bad.
Jacob, what else have you been doing? Shotgun blast me again.
I'm shocked that Colin's opinion hasn't changed at the end of season 2 of Titans. I just can't believe it. I read Batman Metal #1, and after that, I tried finding out which issue to read next out of the 3 books, and it pisses me off that I have to track the story across 3 different books. It's so confusing. It's poorly labeled inside the book, so after book #1, you have to go to Teen Titans 17 or 19. So I found the book, and the back cover says Teen Titans 17 or 19 included. So I open it up, and I read the title to the first issue, and it's like Dark Knight's Age of Ice or something. I'm like, the frig is that? I had to Google Teen Titans 17 or 19 and find the first 3 pages and match them up to what was inside the book. It's so freaking frustrating. I want it in one freaking book in a single line, so I read it like an actual book. Ugh.
My gut says that they're gonna definitely do that later. I was asking the guys at Jetpack. I was like, "Oh, are you guys? Do you think? Have you heard any rumblings about them potentially releasing omnibus versions of this? Because this was back before the current event was out, and it was just the original metal. So I was
Right.
like, do you think that maybe like an omnibus or two? And they're like, yeah, at the moment it looks like they're gonna milk it on the paperbacks as long as they can, and then after the next event comes out, which is when I found out that there were rumblings of a sequel event, that then they'll probably put it in an omnibus in the order instead of just having the like, yeah, it's
Well, that
dumb.
pisses me off even more.
Yeah.
I also watched the HBO special Perry Mason. I saw the first 6 episodes, so I have 2 left. It has a slow start that comes together very well in the 3rd act. I was kind of bored to begin with, but I was like, I don't know, I'll push through it. There's only 8 episodes. And I forget if it was episode 5 or 6 that I was like, this is getting really good. It takes a while to build itself up, but it's really good, and I am very excited to finish it. Yeah.
Nice.
It's just it teaches you to be patient and to push through.
Colin has problems with that.
Yeah. Actually, no. Hey, you gotta
Like
give me
you
credit.
don't.
I pushed through Titans. Okay.
That is fair, but at least there are nice things to look at while you want to stab your ears.
That's very true.
I started the Harley Quinn animated show on HBO. And I'm just gonna use the simple summary that I gave in the group chat. It is basically a DC reskin of Archer, and it's just as bland and boring. I didn't find a whole lot of enjoyment out of it.
Really?
Yeah, that one I'm probably not gonna push through.
Interesting.
That is the end of Shotgun number 2.
Kite Man, hell yeah. So I watched Shaun of the Dead, which is, it might sound like sacrilege because I'm a very big Simon Pegg fan. I'm a diehard Hot Fuzz fanboy,
Right.
and I hadn't watched this part of the Cornetto trilogy, which, if you don't know what it is, it's basically 3 movies that aren't connected at all, but it's the same writer director team.
Yep.
With Simon Pegg. They have it's basically identical humor. Anyways, Shaun of the Dead I hadn't watched yet because it's a zombie movie, so I had been like, I'm good on zombie comedy movies right now. I really like Zombieland. I actually like Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. That's a guilty pleasure. So I waited for a long time to watch this. So it's a story about a boy taking control of his life to become a man. There's comedy, drama, and romance. Also, there's zombies. It's basically what it is. Like it kind of is like a coming of age movie for like a man baby in a sense. He's like, learning to control his own life and not just follow around people, have some assertion in his life, actually give a shit sort of deal. But it's set with zombies, I guess.
So it's basically your life without the coming of age part.
Whew. So who's the zombie in this situation?
Yeah, that would actually be me.
Okay, fair enough. I really liked it. I didn't laugh a lot though, which is weird. Like Hot Fuzz, every single joke lands for me and I die laughing.
I have
Hot
to
Fuzz
agree with
is
you on that.
One of my favorite comedy movies of all time. But they're good jokes. Like it's just, I don't know if it's maybe the timing of like, I believe it came out in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. So it might just be the timing. It might be my sense of humor is just a little bit different than Hot Fuzz is. I don't know. It was very entertaining to watch. The chemistry was really good. The story structure was excellent. It's just like the jokes are good. They're just not like making me actually laugh. If that makes any sense.
I have that issue with comedies all the time. I watch it and it's like, it's funny, but I'm not laughing.
You didn't breathe. You didn't exhale loudly out your nose.
No.
Colin, did you do anything else?
I've actually been playing a lot on my Switch that I got recently, and I was I've been addicted to Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh my word.
It's just so fun. It's peaceful. Like every time I play like Call of Duty Modern Warfare all the time, and whenever I get like too angry because I'm like sucking, like I suck sometimes and sometimes I'm like really good, but like today I was not having a good day on that game, so then I started playing New Horizons, and it's peaceful. It's so good.
Aww.
It's
Nice.
so nice.
I actually would have guessed that you were an Animal Crossing kind of guy. I
Yeah,
can
he
easily
definitely
see
is.
that.
I never played it till now. Abby got me into it. I wasn't really crazy about it till I started playing it. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually really peaceful. It's really nice. I love it.
Jacob, blast me again.
All right.
Blast us, big boy.
Last blast. I watched the first episode of Westworld on HBO.
Ooh.
It's an interesting sci-fi concept that I believe they brought to new dimensions, and I am excited to see more. To end on a downer, on my last Shotgun Blast, I watched most of THX 1138, which is it was directed partly by George Lucas. I forget the name of the actual director that was training him. 6 years before George Lucas made Star Wars, so that would make this movie made in 1971.
Oh wow.
It is a 1984-esque style sci-fi that I found very freaking boring. Like, I was 3/4 of the way through it. I'm like, I just cannot do this anymore. I am so bored.
Bruh.
So I never finished it.
Bruh.
Blech.
Unacceptable opinion.
That's disappointing.
Have you two seen it?
Yes. That's usually how the answers go.
So what do you think of this movie, Spencer? What did I miss?
Like it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like boring. I guess I can see why you would be bored by it. It's not like it's riveting. It's definitely like a directorial debut type movie, but
It had the same feeling that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest did. Like, not much is happening, and it kind of drags. Like, stuff does happen, but I can't see... It's just a picture of someone living their life.
I guess. There's a really good movie that is basically just people living their life. It's called Patterson. It's really good. It's just about this bus driver who might be Adam Driver and like his wife. Like there's no conflict in the movie. Like they're just living life. It's just cute and it's really good.
Drives me crazy. I don't want to watch something like that.
Why? You don't want to see Adam Driver be happy?
I know what a normal life feels like. I do it every day.
I'm sure you do. Yeah, I guess it's nice to see where the rumblings of George Lucas's world building came from. Yep. That's where it is the most interesting, is the world being presented. Like it's been, I think, established George Lucas is not the best people director. Otherwise, he's fine. He's way better as like a producer, not necessarily a screenwriter, but like coming up with the ideas and building the world behind the scenes.
Of course.
Right.
And I think he did that really, really well in that movie. It's just directing is definitely on the boring side. So I like it, but you can't not like you still have the wrong opinion, even though I understand where you're coming from. That's my opinion on everything, isn't it?
You still have the wrong opinion, but all right, I'll let it slide. You're my boy. You're my boy.
This is true.
It is Spencer's turn with his last point.
Oh yeah.
So I read Batman, The Flash, The Button. That is Batman / The Flash : The Button.
I cannot wait for your review of this because I talked about it a little while ago.
Okay, so it is a 4-issue crossover event. Event is a loose term. Between the Tom King Flash run and the Joshua Williamson Flash run of Rebirth. With illustrations by Jason Fabok and Howard Porter. starting with the art, because it's the easiest thing. I absolutely loved the art in this book. Both artists have very different styles. I've already screamed about how much I love Jason Fabok's work. Howard Porter has a really interesting style. It's very angular and accentuating. Like he does a very distinct style, but they actually mesh pretty well together because it alternates between issues. So you have a Batman issue, then a Flash issue, a Batman issue, a Flash issue, whatever. And it just, you can see like basically the same panel, but drawn in the two styles. And it's really, really cool. No issues with the art whatsoever. It's really good stylized Batman and good stylized Flash stuff. There were a few check-ins with other characters from other parts of the DC universe, which I thought it was nice to check in with. It felt somewhat natural to see the people that we see. Not going to say who. I liked the resolution it provided for another arc that had happened previously. I really liked how that went. And it was good to see another speedster reference that hadn't been referenced in a while. I'm not going to say which one. Jacob knows who I'm talking about. It doesn't really go anywhere, though.
Thank you.
So, like, that's I thought the dialogue for both writers was actually pretty solid. I've complained about Tom King writing Batman before. I don't think he's horrible, and in this, I think he does shine pretty well. Like, there's some witty jokes. The two characters get along really well because they have forensics in common. Flash, monologues internally. He's like, yeah, the rest of the league doesn't like talking about forensics. They get bored. They don't know what I'm talking about. But Batman can talk about it for days. So like they hang out. Like Batman has Flash on speed dial. Like quite literally. He just calls him up. He's like, yeah, I need you in here like right now.
Get it? Speed dial.
I like that joke.
Yeah, so like the premise of it being a prelude to Doomsday Clock, I don't mind as like a little bit of a teaser. So
what
it is.
You mean Doomsday Clock? I think we all know it's Doomsday Clock by now.
Oh, nice. You need to remember that voice and use it at later points because that was excellent.
Don't worry, I'll remember the voice.
Oh, okay. Is that your pedo voice? I think that's his pedo voice.
That's the one he uses when he calls Abby up on the phone.
It's the voice I use when I think about Spencer.
Oh boy. I'm getting sweaty.
Jacob, I just want you to know that I'm drawing your superhero right now, and I'm paying attention to every little detail.
Every little detail, so working on the pants, I assume.
Oh boy. Okay, back to other characters that do wear pants. So I like it as a prelude of, hinting at what's coming, and it's only a few issues, and they're fairly short and very plot heavy, I'd say, even though I said it doesn't really go anywhere. Like I said, I liked revisiting a couple of the events that are referenced in it. The character interactions were really nice. The Reverse Flash is always welcome in my book. I thought he was done excellently here. Just like, yeah, I'm always going to exist in every timeline, every version of everything, because I hate you. You can't get away from me. There's just no way. I really like that.
We love the hate.
Yes. So this is a sequel to DC Rebirth #1, which is like a mega-sized issue to kick off the Rebirth event, more like continuity shifting, whatever the and then it's this book, and then it's Doomsday Clock. Kinda. It's weird, and that bugs me because, okay, this is my tinfoil hat time. I gotta go there.
Well, hang on a second. Does #1 show the button arriving?
Yes, that's where that happened.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's the context that I needed.
That's what yes. So I actually think that this book should be bundled with DC Rebirth #1 because it's a really big issue, but it's still one issue and it only comes in hardcover that I'm able to find anyway. That annoys me anyway. But like, so you have DC Rebirth #1 and then you have the button, and the button's only 4 issues. Like, right. Put them in the same book. I understand they're not written by the same writer. They're not illustrated by the same people. But like they're so connected, and it's a short story. Like it's a hop, skip, and a jump to the end of it. That should be one book. And in my humble opinion, I think there should be an expanded version of Doomsday Clock that includes these, because that just makes sense. But tinfoil hat time. So something I kind of referenced when I was talking about Three Jokers and Doomsday Clock with Jeff Johns, he was higher up in terms of creative control of like DC publishing at the time that these were like announced / started being written. And we know a couple of them, like Doomsday Clock and Three Jokers, got like stretched out really long. They were not supposed to be published for over like 3 years. It seems like that is the major problem here. Is I actually like the idea of all of these books. If you're gonna, like shove Watchmen into the DC universe in some way, I think this is a really good way to do it. But coalescing these books, whereas they started coming out Flashpoint is relevant. So Flashpoint was in 2011, and then you have most of this in 2015, 16, 17, and then 18, 19, and 20. And you can condense it all into like one omnibus. It just bugs me, and I feel like they've really shot themselves in the foot, like really, really bad, because most people's receptions to these stories isn't that they're bad, it's that they feel like they're stretched out and overly long, and they don't go anywhere because they were published over such a long period of time. So I feel like them trying to yank, them being in quotations and vague, somebody higher up trying to wrestle this away from Jeff Johns, whereas he's actually trying to shake up things, which is not what Jeff Johns usually does, so you have to give him props. This was all under his general guiding control at the time. Him trying to radically shake up DC continuity, and they wouldn't let him do it, kind of. They like forced him to stretch it out, and it's been changed. It just, why? Jeff Johns is notorious for maintaining status quo. He wants to grow, I guess, and learn to write different things and change what's going on. And then you shoot him in the foot, and you shoot DC Publishing in the foot, so nobody knows what the f*** is going on, and continuity becomes a mess again, and everybody's bored. What the f***? Tinfoil hat is off.
Colin, what else have you done?
I swear there's like a third one, but I don't think there's been much. I've just been going back and forth between books, trying to finish certain things, but soon to come, I'll have reviews on said books.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 7, The Believer. Colin, thoughts? Tell me them.
Can we not start with me, because I can't remember which episode that was?
Jacob. Fine. Okay, I'll go.
Oh, wait. No, I remember now. I remember.
I was still worried about
Speak.
something.
Okay, so that was the one where Bill Burr came back, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the last one. Okay, so I'm really enjoyed the different character development, and just like Mando is being stretched to his limits in this episode. But also,
it's interesting that you say character development, because I was going to say that the two snipey checks barely did anything but snipe stuff.
Oh, well, yeah, because the episode wasn't really about them. But like, I'm talking about Mando.
Bill Burr in space.
Yeah, Bill Burr. So Bill Burr, we got like more, like, he actually cares about people. Like,
I really, really like what they did with his character.
yeah.
At first, I was like, is this a jump in logic from where he was in the first one? Because he was an ass.
He wasn't that much of an ass. He was more like, no, he was definitely one of those like hiding myself type of an ass. Because he didn't want to kill that dude. You could tell he didn't really want to kill that dude, and he wasn't just doing it out of the blue. The Twilight,
but also he was
chick
abusing the
did.
child, and for that you will never be forgiven.
How'd he actually abuse the child though?
Someone please remind me who this guy is.
It was the one where they go. It's the one with
Purple
the
Twilight.
break. How do you not remember that? That was like the best episode of last season.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
You're
I told
broken.
you. I'm stupid.
Yeah. And Anywho, yeah, I'm definitely with Colin. I was a little confused, and then I really, really, really liked where they went. When they were in the internet's been blowing up. The scene in not the cantina, but the lunch hall, whatever the hell you want to call it.
The officers' break room.
Yeah.
Yes.
That scene was off the walls phenomenal in like every way.
It was so good.
That was kind of when I realized where they were going, because not just the interaction they had with the officer, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was when he gave Mando his helmet back and then was like, I didn't see you.
Yeah.
That was that's when I was like, oh, so that's what the title's about. Because it wasn't, I wasn't sure how the title was relevant. I usually wonder about these things. And it wasn't it wasn't like, oh, we converted him to the cause exactly. But it was more like he believes in what Mando stands for. Like their two ideologies do actually coalesce to an extent. That was really cool. So they let him off at the end, and I'm like, that dude would 100% go. If he could go back to the New Republic, he probably would, but he obviously can't because he doesn't exist anymore. But like, that boy would be part of the Resistance in like 15 years.
Of course,
I like that.
I love how Boba, just out of the blue, got a paint job on his armor.
Dude, it looks so good.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. I like it's just, I know I don't like it just because I like how it looks better in episode 5 and 6.
Understandable. My first reaction was like, that's cool. And then I'm like, wait a minute. You look like a toy. And then 30 seconds later, when I didn't watch it on my phone, there's a hell of a lot of detail that's still there. It's not just painted like it's more like he took a paintbrush and manually painted over it himself.
Yeah.
It's still rough and janky and dented. It's just like at a glance, you don't really notice that if you're watching on a smaller screen. I thought it looked really good, and it would make sense if your armor finally comes back and it looks like ass. It's been through hell. Why wouldn't you want to give it a paint job?
Yeah. No, I understand that.
It looks so good. I want it.
That's pretty much the summary for this episode. It looks so good. I want
it. Yeah. I do. Oh, it was really nice seeing like more interior of Slave One. I'm really enjoying getting to see more of Slave One in action, because the most that we ever saw was like in Attack of the Clones. And after that, it was kind of like more just concept arts that have been here and there.
That was probably the highlight of the episode for me, is when, I think it's near the beginning of the episode, when everybody's in the cab of Slave One.
Yeah, when he drops the freaking...
the gyroscopic cab inside the ship as it's standing up in space.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
I love when he had that callback to Attack of the Clones when he just drops like that weird sonic bomb thing.
Oh, dude, I nutted I nutted when that happened. And like I told Abby about this. I'm like, oh my gosh, this episode is major horny. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, just wait.
Oh boy. Something that I actually thought was pretty cool was in Star Wars, like in most of the expanded material outside of the movies, we have a bit of a focus on like, it's not entirely black and white. Like there are gray areas. There are bad people in good causes and good people in bad causes and all that stuff. I like how this episode confirmed that while also being like, yeah, but the Empire is still fucking fascist trash at the same time. Like they did both. They're like, yeah, there are some people that were kind of there for the right reasons, but most of them have bailed. Like when, like Operation Cinder happened, and they just, for you guys that don't know what that is, like basically they were just the Empire, the remnants of the Empire right after Palpatine died were just told to basically just trash everything and just park over a planet, blow the shit out of it for no reason.
There was even some comic books about that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's in the Aftermath trilogy in particular. And it's like, you don't do that and not understand what you're doing. Like, you can even write off the Death Star you're like, well, there are scientists on there and like non-military personnel. Like there are books about that where it's like there were still good people on there, and the rebellion did just blow them up. But it's like, yeah, but the Empire is still a empire.
Yeah.
Like,
well, in every war, there's obviously good people on the wrong side. You can
Right.
still be a good person, and still be a criminal, or still be like a war criminal.
Right. I just like the fact that it kind of pulled back from the usual, like, we're going to make it more and more gray, like every episode of something. It's like, and it's more and more confusing. And this one's like, yeah, but like the Empire was never going to be okay, and it does need to just get blown to shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was
I like
a very
that.
cathartic moment. I loved how he's just like, give me the sniper rifle. I'm just going to blow this entire joint. And then
Yeah.
that was so good. So it is main topic time. We are talking about Hellboy Omnibus 3. Colin, Mr. Hellboy boy, why don't you give us a summary of the 3 stories that are in this book?
This is the thickest book out of the omnibuses that we are given. And so I'm just going to look at the index, and we have 3 stories. Darkness Calls, the Wild Hunt, and The Storm and the Fury. So this starts off with Hellboy drinking with ghosts, of course, and dealing with, just being a demon. He's seeing visions, and this demon comes out of him, and he's ripped from his gauntlet, and it's just a floating skin in the wind. And it's like a dream sequence of showing what his brain is telling him that is going to happen, I guess. That was a very poor description. Basically, what happens is the story starts off with Hellboy in a dream about how he's being shown visuals of how he's feeling and how his humanity is going to be stripped of him, and all that's left is going to be a demon. And he wakes up and starts drinking again. That's the shorter one, but we go into what's really happening, and we're introduced to one of the biggest villains for Hellboy, and I forget her name, it escapes me, but she is known as the Blood Queen. The Blood Queen goes all the way back to King Arthur times, and she was so powerful that the witches and knights all came together and tricked her and chopped her into pieces and sent her pieces throughout the lands. And one of her goons that wanted power brought them all together. And now we have this woman that wants to bring upon the apocalypse, who is also known as the Dragon. And it's really nice. It brings Hellboy out of like his depressive state, and not really brings him out of the depressive state, more brings him out of the doing nothing part of being depressed. And we get to see a character that he saved in the past from these little goblins that we get to see in one of our short story omnibuses. And her name's Alice, a redhead who was misrepresented in the newest movie, which we shall not speak of. And I like her a lot because she brings the humanity out in Hellboy. I mean, he already shows a lot of his humanity and very kind and wants to do what's right. But she just brings out to a whole other level, just the better half of him. And she's throughout from the middle, from like very beginning of the story all the way to the end, to his demise. And just so much happens to Hellboy throughout this, with losing an eye to getting stabbed in the back by these hunters. He finds out that his dad was a part of like this cult almost. Yeah, they're like a cult. But of course, we're just shown more prophecies from witches about Hellboy and what he's actually going to do, and he's denying it every single time. And he learns that he is actually a descendant of King Arthur and can wield King Arthur's sword. He's a descendant. I love how this is, because he's a descendant by bastardizing because he is from like King Arthur's women that he didn't marry and like whores and all that stuff, all the bad background, just an unhonorable prince to the throne. He is shown more visions and more visions of what he's going to bring, and he doesn't want to pick up the sword because he's going to bring about the apocalypse. And during the end, he is trying to he gets through it, and he doesn't take the sword, but King Arthur comes back to raise his men to fight off the demon horde. And then after defeating the demon horde, he is finally able to rest while Hellboy goes and fights the dragon. But he is unable to reach the dragon because of the horde and all the surroundings. So he gives up an eye to the Baba Yaga to be teleported to the castle that the dragon is in. And one of my favorite lines, I need to read it. So one of my favorite lines was what one of the witches said to him when he got to the castle. So the witches that are following the Blood Queen are watching as the war breaks out, and they speak to each other, and then they realize that someone is there, and they're like, "Who's there?" And they see him. They're like, see his one eye? It's Odin out wandering the world. No, look to his hand. You see, he carries a hammer. Thor, then. And then Hellboy says, "Where is she?" The witches point. "She alone up there." "No." And one of them said, "Oh, Odin traded his eye for wisdom, but you traded yours for much less." Nimway, that's her name, Nimway. Nimway, the Blood Queen, waiting for Hellboy to appear. She is transforming into a dragon, waiting for Hellboy. Hellboy's battling his way up to find her. Finally, they clash fists, and as he defeats her, she rips his heart out and plunges him to hell. Very anticlimactic ending, I thought. I was very surprised by that when I first read it. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I found
Jacob dropped the hot take. Drop the nuke.
Well, I was going to start off easy before I drop the nuke.
Fine.
Tactical nuke. Page
AC 130.
Page 44, the first frame, I think summarizes the funny aspect of Hellboy's character.
40 what?
44.
Okay.
So he finds a couple of people that are talking to him, all crazy talk as he's out on a walk, and eventually they start some ceremony that's raising zombies or something up out of a grave in the ground, and the frame has leaves spinning all around, and it's chaotic, and lights and shadows, and there's 2 or 3 corpses up in the air. Like it's crazy what's happening. And he's like, "Wow, you girls look like crap." It's just so it's not even breaking the fourth wall. He's just like doesn't care that he's in danger.
Oh no, not at all.
Just cracks jokes in a very different way from most comic characters. Spencer, did you have any hot takes before I drop the nuke?
Drop the nuke.
Drop the nuke.
Start the Civil War.
Okay, so Colin, I warned you that I had an artist's question.
Yep.
Please turn to page 66.
Okay.
Nice.
And notice that it is a white setting, a very snowy setting, with snow-crusted warriors all in an army formation lined up against Hellboy. And notice that it is on black paper. Hellboy is snowblind by this. You can see in the second frame, he's like holding his hand up to his forehead, trying to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Turn now to page 99 as an example. It is when Nimway's goons are trying to get her in her box out from a near bottomless pit underneath a cathedral. So it's, down a huge set of stairs, basically in a cave, with a troll in shadows as he's lifting the lid to a near bottomless pit. And so you can imagine the dark setting that this is, very shadowy, and it's on white paper. Why? Like, page 85 proves my point. It is, again, the snow-strewn picture, and it is on white paper. It's depicting a blizzard, and this page almost gives you snow blindness, but for effect, because there isn't much detail on it. So why not have more of the dark, shadowy areas that we have seen in Hellboy on black paper? Why is most of it on white?
I mean, it's really just, I don't know. Sometimes it just depends about how the artist feels, like how he wants to show things. So it is actually more ideal if you're going to have snow blindness and or just snow, regular snow,
right?
Drawn out. You want to have a darker background, right? Just so you can show more of the color or more of the nothingness, the lack of color. And when you have darkness, you want to show more light in the background. So the white paper, just to show how dark the setting is, so that it doesn't feel like it's all stuck together. I wouldn't do black background with black paper with black. I wouldn't do black on black paper with black panels, because I feel like it would morph everything together and it would just feel not right for a comic book. While then we go to the fully white, basically fully white page, comic book page. And it's all just about what the artist and the storyteller think is the best. And there's no real artsy answer to it. But how I would see it, how I interpret it, is that you can, how you pointed out, he's holding up his hands like it's showing snow blindness, or emulating it. Right. And you see the knights coming out of the snow. That could just be a startup. It's warming up. And then eventually we see page 85 where it's total snow blindness, because you can even see the colors from Hellboy are drained out, and they're almost like a very, very light lavender, ash lavender almost.
That's a different scene. There's a lot of things that happen between those two pages. It's not the same scene that I was...
No, I know.
All right.
I'm just saying it's a snow. It started snowing, and then eventually it leads to the snow getting worse.
Okay.
So it's a part of it. It's not the main thing, but it's a part of the storytelling. How I interpret it, anyways. And then, like you said, all the way to the darkness. It's just how they wanted to do it, I guess. But that's really what it boils down to. It just boils down to that's what they wanted to do.
Okay. Interesting. That was not nearly as exciting as I thought it would be.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's some things about art just aren't that exciting.
That is not what I thought the nuke was.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be something really big, but...
Oh, besides the fact that I really like this art as well as Mike Mignola's?
Oh, of course, yeah. No. This is the only artist I really like for Mike, to do Hellboy. This is the only other artist I would want to do Hellboy.
Interesting. I thought this is the one that you were complaining about in the last book, Into the Sea.
No, he didn't do anything Into the Sea.
This artist.
Yeah.
I thought it was the same artist.
Nope.
Oh.
He didn't do anything in that one.
I always thought that artist
perhaps
was this artist.
the last one, but that seemed too detailed to be him.
Right, that's what I was saying. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think that's the same one. I could be wrong, but I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it's not.
It took me a while to figure it out, but the assassin that the Baba Yaga sends after Hellboy in Darkness Calls, the first story besides the prelude, looks like Genghis Khan, but I think that's the intended look. But
Yeah.
I think he looks more like Shan Yu, the bad guy from the original Mulan movie.
Yeah,
Like,
I
he
think I
looks-
got that too.
They
yeah.
look exactly the same.
Yeah, they do with
Nice.
the gray skin and shit.
Spencer, you've been awful quiet.
Well, I thought you were going to drop a nuke and make it far more violent in here, and then Colin decided to be rational and not get offended. So
Right.
There's
that's
nothing really to get
disappointing.
offended about it.
Well, if I said Mike Mignola can't draw for shit, you'd get offended.
No,
So-
you're technically not wrong. He said that all he can really draw correct is rocks. So he drew a rock character, which is basically Hellboy, who has a rock for a freaking fist, dude.
You're not wrong.
Technically, all artists suck.
I
so.
think. Wait. Colin must be on medication tonight because he just said frigging instead of the actual F bomb.
Yeah, I don't know. I like how this book has a more diverse color palette overall. It takes place in different settings. It's, I love the gothic castles and caves and underwater stuff, but having some stuff in the woods and on mountains, it's just different colors. There's a bit
Just
more
nice,
green.
It's just nice.
I think Hellboy contrasts really well with green. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Um,
dude. No, I have to agree with you. The colors are so nice, and at one point we get to see like watercolor with and for like about 2 or 3 pages, and that was really nice to see.
Yeah. I like how this is the depression book. If out of them all, this is Hellboy being big oof, and I just like that. I like the mood of the book as a whole. It is my favorite out of the 4 main books.
That's what I was going to
and-
say.
Hellboy in Hell is a close second, like very close. It depends on my mood.
I love how mellow the 4th one is. That's why I like it.
That's really why I like the ending, is it's not bombastic. Although technically the events that happen you don't see them as such. I genuinely like having another artist on this run, not because I don't like Mike, but because it kept it going. Like it probably would have been a lot longer until this came out if Mike was doing both aspects. And it does, because it's in a different setting with different types of stories. It helps bring a slightly fresher feel to it in a very, very similar style. But it's just different enough. And something that Colin had mentioned the last episode was the whole Hellboy gets like small. It's weird. Like, he's still a big dude, but just because Mike's art style had shifted a little bit himself, he went from being extra wide on the top to having like sloped shoulders, like every Mike Mignola character. At this point, like in his newer style, it just.
But what does that would add to his mood? I would think.
Right. It shows, even if it's unintentional, it shows how much more worn down he gets, because like Hellboy loses. Like, he doesn't win. Like, he gives in the end, he up.
Oh yeah.
So, it shows the fact that every story he does get worse. He's not getting better. He's not getting less depressed. He's getting worse and more angry. And like in this book, he slaughters a bunch of people and like doesn't even remember it. It just kind of happened. And he's like, I need to get that in check. It shows how much he's just falling apart. He's drinking himself into oblivion. He's smashed all the time. He's killing people, and everybody thinks everybody's leaving. And by the end, he does give in. He just loses. because he doesn't have anything left. I think
he's got nothing left to lose.
No, even if it's unintentional, I think the art style shift and utilizing a couple of artists for some stories here and there actually did help with that.
Of course. I agree.
I also noticed Interlude 2 for Darkness Calls must have been drawn by Mike. It has to have been, because it looks just like the first two books.
Yeah, that's Mike. That's a really good one, too. Oh, I love this one.
So far as I know, that's the only thing in this book drawn by him, but I was not able to reread the whole thing before recording. I really appreciate this book because it's very tightly knitted together, all three stories. It feels like all one great epic instead of different stories that are combining for a general story arc.
And that wouldn't have been able to become that way if Mike didn't step down from being the artist.
Right.
That's why it's good that he got this artist to do it for him, because he focused way more on the story than the artwork, and I'm very, very pleased with the outcome.
I think it definitely shows in the quality of writing. Took a bit of a boost.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's kind of a win-win. I like the art. Colin even appreciates the art, and the story gets a boost. So that's why I think we all agree this is the best one, except maybe 4 for you two. I was kind of iffy on that one, and
you're wrong.
Need to reread it.
So okay, my opinion. I don't think 4 is the best one. 4 is my favorite, but I think 3 is the best one.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
That's actually probably a better way to put it.
Yep.
For me,
4 is my favorite.
Okay, we're talking about that in a couple of weeks. Shush.
Get your mouth off the freaking microphone.
That was probably a bad decision. There's probably so much Spencer spit in there.
Ew. Any final thoughts on this omnibus?
Nope. Let's wrap it up, big boy.
Very good. Much love.
Alrighty. So next episode that the audience will be hearing is going to be the New Year's special, which we actually recorded just before this episode, but it'll be getting released in a different order. The next episode with a full topic will be the week after that, which is going to be Watchmen. We're going to be discussing the Ultimate Edition / the Director's Cut, because they're almost the same thing. And I think we're going to end up watching different versions, but they're nearly the same, so we can discuss the differences. It'll be fun.
Whoa.
Thanks to everyone who has listened. Leave us a comment and, tell us which of these 3 stories, what's your favorite. Just give us a comment. It's cool.
Just to help you out, that would be either Darkness Calls, The Wild Hunt, or The Storm and the Fury.
Yeah, so just throw us a comment. I'm sure I'll comment back. So you can find this podcast on basically any audio platform as well as YouTube. Any interaction is appreciated. Likes, comments, subscribe, all that stuff. It does actually go a long way. So please do. Feel free to send us an email at dimecomicbros@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions, questions, concerns, memes, I don't know, anything. We have a Patreon for anyone who would like to at least check it out and potentially help us out, give us some financial support. Find us at patreon.com/dimecomicbros. We have lots of different tiers, including stickers, topic voting, you get your name shouted out, which I will do in a second, as well as some commissioned art by Colin. So feel free to just...
currently working on as we speak. The table is actually shaking as he erases. It's pretty funny. I've been watching it the whole time.
Nice. And you can go ahead and follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm fairly active on all 3 for different things, so please go over there if you have any interest. That's really all I have, except for the Patreon shout out. So thanks to Business Casual, as always, our one patron. You are our first patron saint, and you will always be called a patron saint now.
Tell me what you want me to draw already.
You patron.
I know where you live.
saint.
I will find you, and I will draw something for you.
Only Colin has the superpower of using patron saint as a threat.
Yeah.
I might have to replay that back in the episode in post because he was like so begrudging when he said patron saint.
You patron saint.
Colin, why are you disappearing into the void? Okay, I feel like Lobot from Star Wars right now because I have the two flashing lights on my head and I can imagine like the wraparound.
Yeah. Oh, I am hungry.
Well, if this blizzard hadn't happened, I'd be spoon feeding you ramen right now, but I kept it all to myself.
That's okay. I got more ramen. I'm gonna cook some chicken.
Look at my beard for a second. It looks like it's actually just plastered on digitally because it doesn't. It's not detecting the individual hairs. It's just getting a black blob. It's freaking hilarious.
How many edits will Jacob have to do on this?
Oh, he's getting the drawing pad out.
Oh boy.
Boy's got an idea.
Colin, can you hear me? Nani?
Nope.
So just before I forget to mention it, just so you guys know what's coming, in case you didn't get my joke that I threw in the group chat, I'm going to be talking about 2 Inhumans books and the Inhuman TV series next week, or 2 weeks from now.
Nice.
It's going to be a fun week. And then the week after that, I'm going to be watching Hellstrom, and I have a Hellstrom book to read, which is weird because there's only like 4 or 5 of them. There are not many. So I found one. And I'm going to do them at the same time, and then we can talk about it.
How thematic of you. I'm so impressed.
Oh my gosh, thank you for thinking about that.
Okay.
Okay, Spencer, go ahead.
Oh, I had it on mute. I'm stupid.